Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Teachers of Tomorrow's Myth. My name is Agnes Esther and I'm your host for the day. Today we have with us Sheetal Kalra, who is the founder of a social venture called Career Buddy. Career Buddy provides career guidance and counseling and also life skill training to high school students from low income group families to prepare them for college and the career ahead by opening a path for diverse career opportunities. The organization is currently working with 3 government schools covering 150 plus 10th graders and 500 plus 12th graders. They conduct various programs like Career Exploration Program, Faculty Enablement Program, Parent Awareness Program, and much more. Yes, but this is all that we know about Career Buddy, and we definitely want to dive deeper into how the organization has traveled the journey. And who better than the founder to take us through? So let's get started. Hi, Sheetal ma'am. Welcome to our podcast. How are you feeling?
Hi Esther, thanks so much for inviting me, and I'm absolutely excited to be part of this whole podcast series that you people are running, and look forward to have some interesting times.
Same here, ma'am. So let's get started. So could you please tell us more about Career Buddy and its mission?
I'll kind of repeat that Career Buddy is again a social venture. The aim is it's providing career counseling and guidance, but along with that, providing life skills program, and that together comes as a career exploration program for high school students starting from grade 9th to 12th. And we started, I think the whole idea that basically came out in this particular case is from what happened during the pandemic actually. So pandemic kind of brought in a lot of things which were kind of invisible to an extent, typically with respect to government schools for that matter. The digital divide was, I think, the biggest difference that came in. So what happened was that private schools were able to carry on their studies very easily because all they have to do is they have to shift onto the digital medium. They started joining Zooms, they had phones or laptops, and they could do it. But suddenly we realized that internet connectivity to gadgets, everything is a problem that a child from a government school is facing basically.
Exactly.
So those 2 years, I started reading a lot about various reports that came out, which talk about the numeracy literacy issues the students faced during those couple of years when there were no regular schools available, and there was a lot of work being done to ensure that schools start early by Indian government. Accordingly, steps have been taken. But when I continued reading about it, I realized, and then I found a lot of NGOs in my circles, my friends, who have started working in this particular direction, ensuring these gaps. What I realized is my son was in 10th grade at that time, and there was a lot of work being done by their schools about career counseling. And they even made, parents part of those particular sessions. The idea is to help us understand what are the different kind of careers available these days, which kind of got me excited. And kind of questioning, is the same information available again to the high school students from the government school? So that was a point where I felt that I think something needs to be done. So we kind of started this program from that vision. I first went back to certain NGOs who are working in similar direction or, parallelly working on, education, and try to understand, is there that this gap exists? And almost like univocally everybody kind of come and said that yes, this gap is there, and the students definitely need some kind of guidance. So that was the thought process why Career Buddy got started, and we kept our vision as bridge the gap and unlock the possibilities. So this is what I really kind of think at the back of my mind when I decided to start. And luckily, and on there was a women's startup program going on in IIM Bangalore, which we joined, and from ideation to this point is where I am today.
You made it very clear to us. Thank you so much. So, in your experience, what are some common misconceptions or challenges that students in government school face while planning their career?
I think I'll tell you a few things that came out of reports and few things that came out of my experience dealing with these government schools. So I'll tell you, there was a McKinsey report 2012, Education to Employment, based on which what they realized is there are 2 very counterintuitive things were happening. There are unemployed youth and there is a lack of skilled labor. Now these are absolutely counterintuitive, right? Because you have youth who are looking for employment, but they are not skilled enough to be employed by the employers, so that was the gap that was found. And that particular study did further research. It's a 2012 report, but it's even relevant today. And they found that quite a few students, who they talked about the reasons why they could not continue their education post, 12th grade, basically, or after 10th. There are lack of finances. There is a lack of guidance, very clearly being put one of the reasons. Parents putting pressure for them to go and work. So considering all those, they felt that, and from that point onwards, there is a lot of effort being put to help students understand the importance and continue the education. So recently, World Economic Forum also conducted a study. And based on that, they talked about, they found 4 gaps in Indian education. The third pillar that they talked about is school to work transition, in which they clearly felt that career counseling and guidance is something that is missing, because of which students are not continuing, one part. Secondly, they felt that if the student gets chance to do internships or vocational trainings, that is where they'll find that what are the skill programs are all about, what kind of skills they can develop to basically make difference in their life. So this is the pillar that we picked up from that report and decided that to work on. But let's coming to the question where I said misconception. So as I've said, that based on these findings, I started my journey going to government schools and stuff. And there what I found is teachers coming and telling me that gig economy has changed a lot for these students. Today, a student can easily go and find delivery jobs, working with Swiggy, Zomato, and Tanzo, paying pretty decently. And there are, I even work for one Brit school, where, which is kind of little flexible in terms, not very strict about, because they know that students are coming even from very, very tough strata, and students have to kind of support their families. And there are these students working 5 to 6 hours as delivery boys and earning 15K per month, and feel, why should I get educated, Mm-hmm. And that is a very big question mark that comes in, and that is where you have to basically go back and change the mindset and help them understand that developing skills, getting professional education or vocational education is very important in the long run. With these kind of jobs, you will remain where you are today. Mm-hmm. Or you will not see much change. But if you want to see a growth in your life, you have to do some kind of vocational skill-based program. So this is something, which we need to kind of change or understand and rectify somewhere.
Great. So in your opinion, how important is it to provide career guidance to students at a young age? And what role do teachers play in coaching these students?
I think it's very important, and I'll tell you why. Typically, in last 10 years, there has been a major change in career paths. Mm-hmm. I'll ask you a very simple question. If I ask you today, do you think how many jobs are there in the market today? Just give me a number at your end.
Thousands of jobs. I can't
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right. So 12,000 plus jobs are there, and they basically are divided into, very simply looking, 20 career clusters, right? And almost 12 career clusters out of this is something which is available to each and every stream. And the other 8 are specific to the stream that you're choosing. That means science students can get access to few career clusters, and commerce students. So now coming back to the point is, students are not aware of any, quite a few of these career clusters are never even, it's not that there are jobs, people go and do jobs, but not many students are aware of it. We are aware of only mainstream careers. Mm-hmm. And that is, the moment I go to these schools, there are standard answers: doctor, engineer, you want to go CA. Government services have a great, interest for these students, and teacher. So you can understand the mindset hasn't changed from their parents to them, mm-hmm. which is kind of very understandable. And that is what I really want to kind of start changing now, telling them what are the different careers. CA is not the only accountancy job that's available. There are so many other accountancy, kind of courses are there, and the kind of work is there, considering the startup culture that has come in. And these people require such folks. So there are, people talk about doctor, nobody talks about hospital management or technicians working in the hospital. So can we start giving a different perspective? So this is important. That is why I think from 8th grade onwards, you should start kind of, you should start basically talking about these, what are the different career paths? Now, coming to the role of teachers that you have asked me, a very important role. And what I really feel is that each teacher, kind of think of herself or himself as a career counselor for their field. I'm not asking them to really, but at least in your field, you should be able to start talking about students. What are the kind of jobs they can look forward if they study this particular subject? I can give you examples. Imagine a geography person or a biology teacher, talking about who are the famous biologists, or what are the, and now today biology is not just talking about biologists, agricultural scientists. They have made such a leaps and bounds changes in our agricultural, kind of industry. Can we really start talking about these different careers? And I understand teachers have their own limitations because this is something that has not been taught to them. So we have decided to come with a faculty enablement program, and the whole purpose of that particular program is exactly telling each teacher what are the different career paths belonging to their subjects and how they can familiarize students with these career paths and what is possible based on the real people example, the case studies, and what kind of work they are doing. So after, I think by end of this year, we are hoping that this particular program, the data, a lot of content will be available for direct, and we'll make sure that it is available seamless to everybody, who is interested in gaining this knowledge.
That's an amazing strategy. All the best to you for that. What are some challenges that you face while doing this work?
So I think if you ask me about the challenges, basically, I'll tell you what is happening today is that initially when I went to few schools, they kind of didn't entertain. Typically, it's more like that I stay in an area which is well connected. There are two reasons for them. One, that they're getting too many NGOs coming to them, helping them out, So there is too much exposure. And they said another NGO coming in or another social venture coming in, helping us, I don't know. And then there are these Rotary clubs and all who are conducting career counseling. So that was one where I felt that too much is being done. And as a result, also the benefits are not being seen. So that's one part that I noticed. But all I did is I just changed the lane. Trust me, I went to the backside of my apartment complex, and there are the schools, and they said that, yeah, we are more than happy. Can you please come and do it for us? So, that is one thing. So there is openness. The schools who welcomed were really welcoming. They were to a point where when I talked about that I wanted to conduct life skills program. So why do you want to conduct a life skills program? Let's come to that part. See, what is the purpose of education? The purpose of education is to help student kind of, become complete in himself as an individual and do what they are, and determine their capabilities. They become responsible citizen. They become socially responsible. They have the problem solving, critical thinking capabilities, and finally take decisions in their life. Somehow this part is kind of missing in Indian education, per se, for that matter. And government schools definitely kind of being impacted a lot. So we have created a very, very curated, life skills program for these students. And 2 schools have already agreed that, yeah, they want to run such programs. And we are figuring out, because they have the academic program going on. So how are we going to, kind of inculcate these kind of sessions also in between? So that will be a discussion that will start, basically the planner, scheduler that will create with the schools. But overall, the whole point is that you have to go and kind of convince. And then I'll tell you another thing that happened is telling you, how much time do you need for this session? 45 minutes, 1 hour. And I have to tell them, don't expect. This is not going to happen in just 1 hour. I'm talking about telling them about career possibilities. There will be 2 sessions with which they will get idea about what are the career possibilities. I will give them some time. And then I have to come back and ask them, another 2 sessions to basically know where they are, what they have thought of. See, each child basically have 3 pillars in their life. By himself, as a person, they have their teachers who guide them, they have parents, and then they have their peer group. And what happens is once you open up your mind, or once you get to know, okay, there are so many other possibilities, you start discussing. And then you come to a conclusion. So I have to give that time to them and then come back and discuss again, right? And that there is the possibility of conducting one-on-ones. So the shortage of time in government schools is rather in a school. I think I agree that there is so much academic pressure and everybody is trying to complete the curriculums and syllabus that they find it difficult. So considering that, all this requires is to help them understand the bigger picture. Most of the principals are quite open about making these changes and adjustments, but there is an initial hitch that, okay, career counseling, yeah, you'll take 1 hour and we are done and dusted. And I have to tell them, no, give us time. We want to really help make a difference in the mindset, not just do a job and, go away. That is not the kind of work that I am really looking at. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you have already given us few examples of your work. So is there anything else you would like to add? And when you look at it, how do you think your work has impacted the school and students that you work with?
So I think I'll answer this question in 2 parts, basically. I'll tell you very interesting. When I started the program, I was pretty clear that I have to do a student career exploration program that I'm talking about. And I will definitely do faculty enablement, because we realized that gradually we have to, kind of you adopt a school for 2 or 3 years, make them self-sufficient, and then after a while it should be a very low touch. Maybe we are coming only for 1 or 2 sessions and most of the work has already been done in the school by teachers. So that was a very clear program in my mind. The interesting thing happened is that we realized that we have to do parent awareness program also. So that is something that kind of came in. I haven't conducted any as yet, but by default principals were kind of agreeing that yes, you keep telling these students about different career, but if you are not going to make parents aware, they will be still thinking about those, mainstream careers.
Conventional.
And you have to kind of help them understand what are the different possibilities. So that kind of came into picture while working, in this particular case. Coming to the impact. So I have kind of researched a lot, understanding how I am going to, kind of measure the impact that I am trying to make at this moment. And what we have decided to do is we are using Acumen Academy social impact framework, basically. And that framework talks about 3 areas, basically. You start with the focus. Focus is who are your beneficiaries. In our case, we have kept it pretty open by saying that high school students, typically you can say 9th to 12th or 8th to 12th students is what we are targeting in government schools, Brit schools, and low-income private schools. So the focus is pretty clear from that perspective. Second pillar or second area is the breadth. Number of students you are, working with. And in our case, numbers are already there at this moment. Almost like 600 plus students is what we have touched across 10th and 12th graders. But this is not the right way of looking at the impact. And then comes the third pillar, that is the depth, where you see what is the change that has happened. See, we have just started, and depth is something that really requires you to look at, impact on a longer term. So if you ask me personally, the impact should be that if I have given a career counseling at a 10th grade level or a 12th grade level, I see them basically joining some professional course or a vocational course and then getting a job. So for me, that's getting job. And that is a long journey to find that impact happening. But the first level impact is that a 10th grader continuing education and choosing the right stream. A 12th grader basically going and joining the college. So that is the second level intervention we can see. And finally, after the college, they are getting jobs, decent jobs where they see that, yeah, I have accomplished something in my life. So these are the 3 ways in which we will look at the impact going forward. At this moment, for 12th graders, we are going back to them, in mid, basically, to understand what are the plans that they are having for their colleges. Similarly, for 10th graders, again, we are meeting them again, just to know that, yes, they're going to school, continuing their education. There are students who have decided very clearly to do ITI diplomas. But then we want to see that, yes, they have kind of decided which ITI diplomas from where. I have gathered all that information. So this is how we are trying to understand the impact, in long term.
All right, ma'am. So at Tomorrow Smith Foundation, we work with a number of aspiring teachers. So what advice would you give to them to prepare themselves to be career coaches for their students?
Yeah, so I think I as I've kind of explained, as a teacher, what I really, kind of go ahead and do is, you basically tickle the mind of a student. You go ahead and, kind of open up their mind to tell them what are the different kind of career fields available today. And that is where the difference will start. Talk about, someday start your session talking about, okay, let me tell you about this, scientist, or let me tell you about this economist, or let me talk about this agricultural scientist. You really have to take examples, tell them what are the different kind of works that are being done and what are the possibilities there. So they have to become change makers, they have to become career counselors themselves, as I've said, only in their field. Just make sure that you are aware of these case studies and you can discuss them regularly as part of your curriculum, starting from 8th to 9th grade for sure.
Ma'am, thank you very much for explaining it very carefully to us and for being a part of the show. It was truly amazing to talk to you and have this conversation. We wish lots of luck to Career Buddy and for its amazing mission. Thank you once again. So that's it for today. If you like this episode, do share it with other teachers, subscribe to our channel and follow us on our social media for updates on what's new at Tomorrow Smith Foundation. The links are right there in the description. See you again soon. Bye.